TM Najla Qamber. TM Najla Qamber, I belong here. I belong here, TM Najla Qamber.
Kofi Annan said that ignorance and prejudice are the handmaidens of propaganda. He said that therefore our mission is to overcome ignorance with knowledge, bigotry with tolerance, and isolation with the outstretched hand of generosity. Therefore, racism must, will, and can be defeated. With these words, I will give you a story of how I was isolated by the thugs of my generation. Good evening, contest chair, chief judge, fellow Toastmasters, and most honorable guests. A family was brought together by a mixture of races. A Bahraini father and a Filipino mother. Together, they had 4 beautiful children, 3 girls and 1 boy. With complete ignorance of what dangers lies ahead for these children because of their mixture of races. There were so many instances where these children faced discrimination in every way possible. And the first time that they ever felt this, when they were very young. This incident happened at the park in front of their house, where they were enjoying their time, bouncing on seesaws, swinging on swings. Little did they know that there were 5 boys with stones firmly gripped in their hands, ready to hit those girls. These girls did not know that any harm was to come to them. Until one of these boys decided to take their target as the littlest and the youngest sister, who was only 5 years old at the time. She cried out and yelled, and by instinct, the older siblings ran to her, picked her up, told her to stop crying, and that we were going back home. And in that short distance between the park and our home, they followed us. They shouted at us. They threw stones at us. They said, "You are Filipino maids. Get out of this country." If I had the courage that I do now, I would look back and tell them, I am from this country. I am Bahrain. This was the first time, and it was not the last. It continued on and on. The worst incident happened in school of all places, where 6 girls cornered me and my younger sister and continuously pushing us against the wall until we were bruised and crying. You know what they said to us? They called us khadam. You know what that means? Maid. They said, and I quote, "Khadama, khadama, go clean my toilet. Khadama, khadama, get out of my country." If I had the courage that I do now to protect my little sister, I would do it. I would push them back and tell them, I am from this country. I am Bahrain, whether you like it or not. It's silly to think that all this discrimination is only because of a small detail that happens to me in my family background, that my mother is Filipino, all because of that small, tiny detail. And my Bahraini side is also threatened when I leave this country, even within this country. We're not safe. It's always It's not always about race. Nowadays it's about the color of your skin, the way you talk, the language, the religion you practice. For example, African Muslims being slaughtered by African Christians because of religion, and vice versa. They do this to each other. African Americans being enslaved by white Americans because of their skin color. Filipinos, Pakistanis, Nepalis, Indonesians being abused as domestic helpers just because of their station. Little kids in school being pushed around because of the way their name was spelled, because of the level of how smart they are. Do any of us deserve this kind of treatment? Young or old, no one deserves this. Why can't we just treat one another how we want to be treated? Because these kids, young, old, they do one thing in their lives, like everyone else. They live for their families, for their future families, to make their parents proud. And in the end, we are all humans. We are all humans. So the next time I am discriminated based on my racial background, I will give them an earful of this speech and tell them, while I wave around my Bahraini passport and citizenship, I will tell them, I am Bahraini and I am in this country, whether you like it or not.
We shall now observe a minute of silence for the judges to fill up their ballots.